Today, when I learned that Norm MacDonald had passed away, I was just, it knocked the wind out of me. Such a brilliantly funny man. Such a, it's hard for me to come up with words for how I felt about Norm MacDonald. And people might wonder, why would an activist have tribute to pay to a comedian? If you go further back in my career, back to the beginning 11 years ago, comedy was my thing. And of course, my show Wayward Traveler was a solicited pilot for Cartoon Network's Adult Swim. Had Sergio Aragonés from Mad Magazine. It was a sketch comedy based travel show, just this really bizarre show with me dressed up like a Bigfoot, hopping concert gates to get interviews with celebrities in Bigfoot language. Um, Norm MacDonald was one of the comedians I studied intensely, and I've studied the history of comedy. I've methodically studied every comedian, all their work, just their style, and so a couple of years ago, I landed on Norm MacDonald, and so in terms of my life, I was about 16 years old, 15 years old, 14 years old when Norm MacDonald was on Saturday Night Live. And back then I didn't get him. And so my friend and I would, we would stay up late on Saturday night and we'd watch Saturday Night Live. And of course I thought he was funny. But I didn't really appreciate him or get him. Of course he was in Billy Madison and he had all these, cameo roles in other films, and he did dirty work and he had his TV shows. And so I missed a lot of that. And I didn't really have a lot to do with Norm MacDonald until a couple years ago. I just started watching his old appearances on Conan. I started watching his whole career. I started watching all the hours of his appearances on Letterman. I went back and I watched every single, update, SNL update that he ever did. And I just realized that I was too young to really get him, and I just realized over time that he's the funniest person that that I've I've ever seen. I can't name a funnier person that's made me laugh more than Norm MacDonald, because of his random, disjointed, unexpected, just irreverence, just his complete disregard for the industry. His going on talk shows and just disrupting talk shows and making them hilarious at the same time. And so over the last couple of years, I've had a lot of stress and drama in my career, obviously. Things just kind of went downhill and everything crashed because of all sorts of political retaliation and losing all my money and all this drama and madness and chaos that went down in my career. And so it was really stressful. And Norm MacDonald uh, got me through whenever I was sad or I was stressed out or I felt alone or I felt, like I couldn't deal with anything that was going on around me. I would sort of huddle to myself and I would put on some Norm MacDonald on YouTube, and he would always make me laugh no matter how bad I felt. And I just became enamored with Norm, and I've just have been an ardent follower ever since. And even in the film that I made over the last 2 years, there's a scene in there where I was going to go to a Norm MacDonald show, but it was shut down because of coronavirus. And so I had bought tickets. He had some upcoming dates in New York, and I was going to go and finally meet my comedy hero, meet this person who was become so special to me and has given me so much joy and helped take away a lot of stress from me. And of course, today it rolls through my newsfeed that he's passed away and he had cancer. And I just I it, I can't imagine a world without him and without his genius continuing on, and what we're left with is just hundreds of hours of Norm MacDonald content out there, which is, I mean, every second of it is just sheerly just comic brilliance. There was just nobody like him, and so it's funny because I was, when my own dad died, I was less sad than I am right now. I mean, Norm has just been such a, every night I put on, you'll have 2 or 3 hour weekend update, um, montages, and I'll put those on, and I fall asleep to those. I know every one of his bits. I know all his I know all his jokes. He was just there's just and I can see the outpouring of love coming from just the most crazy places. Bill O'Reilly, Bob Dole, just everybody is just coming out of the woodwork and paying tribute to just this man who was just incomparable. That's it. And there will never ever be another uh, comedian like Norm Macdonald, and it just saddens me. And the fact that he had cancer for 9 years and he didn't tell anybody, and it made me angry. It made me think about when he had his scandal, and he had his Norm Has a Show on Netflix, which was just yet another amazing show from him, completely different than everything else. And of course, he has a scandal, and then the show never comes back, and so he basically got canceled. Norm was canceled, and he had cancer when he was canceled. He was dying when he was canceled, and that when they canceled him, they cut us off from the last years of what could have been an amazing series that went on and on and on, and until today when he passed away. And so all I have to say is, I'm working on a cause in Canada right now, and when I met the other activists and journalists and attorneys over this cause, I said, I love Norm Macdonald so much, I will help the entire country of Canada. And the lady wrote back and said, well, what about, she named another comedian from Canada. And I said, yeah, well, John Candy and, Eugene Levy and all these different people, but Norm Macdonald, I was like, I'll help the entire country just because Norm's from Canada and I love him so much. And, and so I just want to say, goodbye to Norm. And believe me, I'll still be watching. But now he's gone, and it's just I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. R.I.P. Norm.